flashbang. I can't kill them.
Oh, what the hell?
Something I gotta work on. Where did he just come from?
He charged.
I gotta say, the way it's recorded in a stretch format, it looks like it's a cinematic, or like the intro to a cinematic. Also because something about the viewer model, or like the quality here, makes it look like a cinematic.
So sorry about that. Did you move him? I tried to move him out of the... Okay, I wasn't sure. Get right. What the fuck?
So as Anna here, you don't have to necessarily walk up all the way to point, because you still want to heal your Reinhardt or anyone close to Reinhardt or on this side of the wall. You can still be in the driveway or in the road, on the road I mean, and you can still heal D.Va and reach Reinhardt at the same point. And it's not your job as Anna to run forward, nade, and keep in mind here, while you were running to... it's your job to nade, but you don't have to do it in an aggro way like this, because your Reinhardt just died and your McCree died, and they were on the other side. And you could have healed them. They probably expected you to heal them, so that's why they pushed far. And you could have called out that you don't have their backs, or you don't have heals for them to come back. And or you could also stay and heal both, let D.Va and Junkrat deal with anyone coming in.
Lucio! So sorry about that. Did you move him? I tried to move him out of the... Okay, I wasn't sure. Can we get him, please? Yeah, I'm on point. Yeah, I need to get a good point.
That was the weirdest charge in the world. Because he moved me away while I was charging too.
I'm so sorry about that.
That was the weirdest charge in the world.
Okay, so you have McCree and you have Reaper in the driveway, or in the drive, or in the on the road. I mean, I think the correct position right here is where you stand by the payload or behind the payload for the moment, because you have to factor in that someone might come from your right side. Right now, in front of you is the immediate threat, and what you can do is, while D.Va is matrixing, you can heal Junkrat, and you can move to the left and hug the wall here. That's usually a good thing when you hug the wall here. It denies anyone shooting from this angle, and the payload is in front of anyone coming from the flank. So it's a really safe area, and you also have access to the mini here. Good cover as well.
He moved me away while I was charging too.
I'm so sorry about that.
You start moving towards here, but you don't really position yourself further back, and you can let the rest of the team do the damage while you just shoulder peek this corner.
I'm just gonna tire right now.
And you notice as you try to scope in, you don't really have to scope in because you're super close. And I think the way you have hold it right now is fine, but since you see your Reinhardt's shield is almost breaking, he's also jumping backwards. It means that something is gonna come in, so you have to prepare yourself to be ready to react to whatever your Reinhardt is reacting to.
Hog's going up top. Hog up top.
If anything, okay.
Call out the sleep and say slept or Reaper sleeping, and then you count down, like just start counting down to, or like you say, help me kill him, and then you say 3, 2, 1, and you nade and you shoot the melee, and then someone else helps you shoot as well. Nice. I didn't even have to mention it.
The Reinhardt's a gold Reinhardt.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just think that there twice. Am I aimbot Calvin?
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna position the camera a bit better.
I don't think any of us can see
There we go.
Why would he do that? I So that's what gold finds. Reach into it a little more.
This is just chaos.
Right.
You don't have to step forward. Just keep your distance from the enemy. Like, you're not watching right now the gate or the choke. Instead, you're focusing on the Reinhardt, of course. But you have a habit of when you walk forward, when you show that you actually want to hit this Reinhardt, and that's an easy tell for the enemy to basically adapt to. Okay, our Reinhardt went in. He might die, but Anna, it seems like she wants to take some shots as well, and I'm gonna headshot her as McCree. Because you can be far away as well, like you can play a bit further back, line of sight these guys, or have some distance at least, because someone might flank you from the left here, someone might shoot you from main, someone could be above, and you want to value your life with position rather than shots, if that makes sense.
This is
So that's what gold finds. Reach into it a little more.
This is just chaos.
And you don't have to move while you're scoping. Instead, crouch, scope, and take easy shots, because when you're moving around and scoping at the same time, you're making it harder for yourself.
Like, there's no organization to them at
Our
all.
team thrives in chaos.
Hog left, no hook.
Hog no hook, hog no hook.
Jump.
No, he's far back.
Reaper's left room now.
Thank you.
Hog no hook.
Okay,
One
this
shatter,
Reinhardt.
one shatter. When they push in, I'll
I'm just gonna shatter. I'm just gonna shatter.
Shatter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A better or a different position, maybe it's not really better, but it's gonna make it easier for healing the front line while having protection. It's standing behind this car, and you don't really see what's happening right here. I'm not sure, like, if your teammates are looking for group, or if it's a 6-stack that you know. But for example, if no one scouts out someone flanking, you're the first one that will be closest to any enemy coming to point, basically. And it's just safer to be behind the car, easier to shoot. You don't have to move around as you do. It seems like you don't like standing still, basically, and you don't have to move all the time.
Shatter. I'm just gonna shatter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Purple, I'm gonna die. Oh, I'm sorry. Purple, I'm gonna die.
I'm very hurt.
Oh, that's a big box.
So let's see here.
No, he's far back.
Reaper's left room now.
Thank you.
Hog no hook.
Okay,
One
this
shatter, one
Reinhardt.
shatter. When they push in, I'll
I'm just gonna shatter.
He says, I'm just gonna go shatter. Someone else talks about when they push in. Oh, okay, it's a 6-stack. Okay, so the thing is, one of you talks about pushing when they push in, that you want to fight in the, I assume you want to fight in the main, or like in the choke. And then the Reinhardt says, I'm just gonna shatter. It would be much better for you as Anna to be positioned right here, and you won't be shot. You won't be shot at because of because of the bridge, because of the car, and it gives you a position to heal a Reinhardt. It gives you a position, or basically heal everyone, and you can nano Reinhardt as he pins or charges in, and it's basically the same safety you have here, but much easier shots on your team. Your position right here, it's really good, but it's better for when you want to have the fight around this area, or when you want to fall back to point. When you want to be aggro, it's better to be here, because if you're positioned right here, you have to step out of line of sight, and you're exposed, all exposed out here. And you don't have your shield when Reinhardt goes for a shatter play, and you want to watch out for sleeps, nades, getting shot at, and so on. And you just deny yourself vision by standing here if your teammates wants to fight far up, and I'm mentioning this because it's a 6-stack. And you can plan a lot more as a 6-stack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Purple, I'm gonna die.
I'm very hurt.
Oh, that's a big box.
You want to try and use the nade as well while you're walking out, so that you can nade someone that's looking for you. And it's all a skill matchup, like you timing the nade and all that. You have to predict where the enemies are, basically.
Oh no,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
people get the tick.
If they get a tick, it's not the end of the world.
Oh,
Reaper behind.
damn it.
Trying to build mech.
That was a really bad tire on my part.
Oh, dude.
Damn it. No,
Let's see here. You have nano, so you're not gonna. Oh, there's Job, by the way. Gob. Or Job, yeah. But you're not gonna contest this first point. Very likely that you won't. So what you can do is set up on high ground as Anna. Basically, when you're running out of spawn here, keep in mind that you have no tanks positioned on point right now. So that's what makes it really hard to contest it. So as Anna, instead of running down this street, go to the left, up here, set up on high ground next to the tower so that you can shoot down, or you set up on the bridge, maybe even far back here, depends on where your tanks want to fight. But you usually want to take an early fight in the choke, and your tanks will fight right at the choke, so the best position for you as Anna is on this like high ground right here.
damn it.
Trying to build mech.
That was a really bad tire on my part.
And your Reinhardt should be on high ground as well, so that he can just drop down.
Right half.
I could just set bombs
Bottom left.
Reaper is flanking bottom left, I think.
on his foot.
Maybe on.
You walk up. The reason for mentioning it earlier than the moment you walk up here is because at high ranks you will see like a Tracer or Genji or whatever moving behind point while they're still capping first tick, and it's because they want to deny you high ground, not you specifically, but the enemy team. And whoever controls the high ground has control of like this first part of the map.
Reaper left side, yeah, in the castle.
Yep, with you.
He's backing off.
I'm going top castle. That's good. You guys do your thing.
Oh wow,
Personal
I got double dinged. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got slapped.
Watch out. Oh no.
No.
Try and scope from here so that, for example, if you crouch right here, or you can even stand on the bridge and crouch, because Reinhardt is. So let's just back and take a better frame. So since your Reinhardt wants to fight in this area, you can be directly behind him, and instead of being on this position or on this position, you expose yourself to the McCree here. Anyone basically coming from this area. By being here, you only expose yourself to anyone on high ground and anyone in front of you. I guess that makes sense. And it's also just easy to crouch. You don't have to move. Crouch, scope in. You make yourself really small by crouching, so that's why I mentioned it. And when you scope in, you have instant like hit scan heals as well. Instead of when you hip fire, it's a projectile.
With you. He's backing off.
I'm going top castle. That's good. You guys do your thing.
Oh wow, I got double dinged. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got slapped.
Watch out. Oh, no.
And you then don't have to make these awkward picks when this like stone is or like brick is hiding the Reinhardt for you. Is there any situations in which Lucio should out heal Anna on Cough? I had a game just now where I had 10k healing, 10k 30% healing, 2-2 comp. I didn't notice Anna dying, or she didn't call it really. 30% healing. I guess like if you have permanent healing aura on and you don't die, but your tanks take a lot of damage, so you're like always active with the aura. It doesn't really matter if you out-heal the Ana, but it depends on how much accuracy the Ana has on her darts. She might miss the darts, but she might also do damage. Like, she might do damage on the enemies and like focus too much on the damage part. That's not very good, but it's a way you can play Ana. And I would say generally, no, Lucio shouldn't out-heal Ana. But there's always outliers for everything. In ranked, you have like random things happening. So like in ranked, it's totally fine sometimes, but usually no. So yeah, you won't do these awkward. You don't have to do these awkward peaks if you're just above the bridge. And this Reaper, he sees you up here as well, so that's why he TPs.
Reaper on bridge up there. Behind us. I'm on Reaper.
You can be playing Lucio with more on healing than speed. Yeah, that can happen, but usually Ana out-heals Lucio, because Lucio has to use speed, or it's a really good thing to use his speed. It's just a really strong ability. Well, not ability, but passive.
We are in the process of being...
Reaper's above us. Reaper's above us. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on Reaper. Oh, I'm gonna die. Who's off the map?
Okay, can we...
Yeah, I'm on Reaper.
You wanna put the nade, you wanna throw the nade and Hanzo shooting as well. Well, actually, he can just headshot. That's totally fine.
Can we... Okay, yeah, I'm contesting.
Nice nade.
Okay, so I'll just crab by the payload.
The reason for throwing the nade is that you get a tiny bit of ult charge as
A
well.
little bit close.
But it's not needed. It's like min-max.
Right.
Someone just
Okay, Reaper's here, Reaper's here.
to go other side.
Yeah,
We'll let
Reaper's
them back.
Not just add
Oh, okay, that makes sense, Scar. Yeah.
It doesn't
shield.
appear.
Reaper's in castle on the left.
I got you.
Act like shatter.
Oh, do it. Go for it.
I would even tire early here if you want to.
I'd tire,
right now.
Oh, might as well wait. We just won this fight.
Okay, that's good.
Zerg's
I need supports. Actually, no.
I need some heals.
Don't forget your
On his half.
yeah. Don't forget your teammates. Let the Hanzo do all the damage, and you can fire like 2-3 shots, but then scope out, look around. Is anyone critical? And then prioritize the critical people.
Okay, I have bombs for next fight. Then we have tire.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Once they like even get close, I'm just gonna tire.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get like.
Make use of your nano.
Once they
Let's see.
do it. We are in. Hey, we just.
Then we have. Okay. Yeah, if you can get like.
Okay, so let's see nano targets here. I think the best nano target for you is D.Va or Reinhardt. D.Va or Reinhardt, because D.Va can do a ton of damage. She will survive Reaper as well, and Zarya. Reinhardt, he can do a ton of damage. He will do less than D.Va when she's nanoed, but he can walk into Reaper without a problem. It depends on who Reaper is focusing. I guess he's definitely gonna focus the tank. So one of the tanks is reasonable. I don't know yet which one you will nano, but I'm just
They're going through castle.
Going through castle.
predicting.
Tire. Ryan.
I'm hitting Ryan. Nice.
Big.
No more ults. No
Three
more
top.
ults.
3 top. Hold on.
It's totally fine that you didn't use nano. I personally think I would have used nano there because it's so like it was such a spontaneous fight, and you were low on HP, and Reinhardt was in the middle of the face of the enemies, but then also you had a Junkrat higher and such. So I think good job on keeping the nano.
Ocarina flash. We down.
Gotcha, bitch.
I would have. I don't mean I would have used nano in the sense that it's good. It's more like I would have probably used nano because I wouldn't be able to see the reason in, or not the reason, but I wouldn't be able to analyze the fight basically in time.
Gotcha, bitch.
Oh, push up. They only got 20 seconds.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna solve it.
Where bottom left? Oh, I almost went there. Sorry, no bubble.
Don't let them get the card.
They're pushing castle. Or at least Ryan is. Ryan's on bridge.
Okay.
Where is it?
Oh, on bridge.
You should have said cap.
Ryan on me, right hand.
Watch out. Reaper behind you. So low to me. Help me.
Okay, so a couple of things happen.
Ryan's on bridge.
You know where they're coming from.
Okay.
Ryan is there. He pins in. Now you do the same type of habit where you walk forward a bit and then try to hit the sleep. I guess it's like as in trying to lean in when you're focusing on shots. Let's see. When the high noon comes out, you can actually keep walking. Like it takes some time for the high noon to charge up. And you have a beat on you as well, so like it's gonna take a few seconds here. Like you have 1k HP. So you can walk back, take a safer position, nano the diva, because you end up panic nano on Reinhardt, since he's the only one you could reach. And you want to use your nano earlier, so that you don't die with it or risk dying with it. Are you only joining OWL teams? No. I'm also looking for academy teams.
You should have said cap.
Ryan on me, right hand.
Watch out. Reaper behind you. So low to me. Help me. Guys, on a Reaper behind. On a Reaper behind.
More. Ryan?
I'm getting hit by it. They can come in the shatter.
Well, you'll have one more fight.
Got back up it.
Someone's gonna have to get on early though.
Wait until the last second, so I'll be closer to you guys though. Don't go in just yet. Okay, go.
Okay, no.
They have shatter.
So you basically have to ignore the Reinhardt as the Reinhardt, and the US Anadin. Let's see.
Okay, go.
Okay, no.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate you don't hit the sleep. But you can kite him. He won't be able to kill you. Your Reinhardt, he should walk out. Because you only have Lucio on point, and he might die pretty easily.
Ryan's in back.
Right down. On card.
Just get a big, huge shatter. That's what we need.
Yeah, Reaper, focus Reaper on card.
So as soon as the shatter comes out,
Just get a
let's see.
huge shatter. That's what we need.
We can't even hear it.
On card.
Just get a big, huge shatter. That's what we need.
Okay, so for some reason, Reinhardt doesn't shout like normal. But the bash, or like the sound of the shatter hitting the ground still comes out. So you should look for a nade on anyone that's done as soon as you hear it or see it.
Yeah, Reaper, focus Reaper on card.
Just to get the anti-heal and win the sustain fight.
Anna.
Stay on card. Oh, huge.
Reaper no rate.
Ah,
I didn't
Good
do
job
anything
taking
for
that. Or turning it around, I mean.
We do goats.
Which VOD is this from? This is from
Yeah, let's do goats. Let's just go super.
ThereWillBeClams.
I'll do like Diva or Zarya.
if we do goats, we gotta go left side.
Actually, Gobi, do you want to do Ryan? And
Next VOD is from Nameless, and then it's your VOD, David.
Moira time.
I'm gonna stream VOD reviews for like 2 hours. 2 hours or so. No, the VOD after next one. Since I'm taking them in the order.
Guys, should I just bait them?
No, you should.
No.
No. Think
Just-
about this. Think about it. No, listen.
I don't like this.
Oh, it didn't show up in the kill.
Oh,
I'm about to. Oh, nice.
Alright, wish me luck.
Is that
boys.
far?
they
They
do it. They do it fair.
Go left side, left side. I stunned it.
Let's just fight on point. Fight point.
You got Moira?
Bear's above us. Diva, can you kill Farah?
Yep.
Bear's half. Can you just fight on point?
Okay, so let's see. We're gonna slow this down a bit.
Bear's above us.
So this is totally fine.
Diva, can you kill Farah?
Yep.
Moira?
Let's see. I would say try to follow your diva and try to follow like the general route of the team instead of going for the Reinhardt, because it's kinda logical that the enemies will be closer to you if you're on this side rather than this side, since people hold the main, you see them in main, they run in, and you have protection here. Like this is more immediate protection, and you also have the tank.
Pharah's above us. Diva, can you keep us, Pharah?
It's very close that you die, but you're you can actually, you don't have to shift forward. You can just shift to the left,
Diva, can you keep
and you're safe.
us, Pharah?
Yep.
But now you shift on point and then you turn your back to the point so you don't see anything next to you. Any clue when my VOD will be up for review? So I did Dragonus VOD, and I put your VOD for tomorrow because you guys are from the same team and you submitted 2 scrim VODs, so it's kind of like cutting in line, and I want to keep it, you know, fair, a bit fair for everyone. So tomorrow I'll put it as the first one. This stream was supposed to, or yeah, today was a shorter stream, and this is like a second surprise stream.
There's half.
But yeah, tomorrow yours will be the first one, Zergster.
Right now. Focus on point. On the right point. On one. 3-1 on the right.
I'm blocking it.
Oh man.
Surrender to my will.
On point. On the right point. On one. 3-1.
I think you panic a bit more with, or you panic a bit too much with your shift, like when you use it, and it's probably because you're not used to the speed, and then you just end up going wherever there's empty space, basically. But you can line of sight the McCree, go to the right, and then you can stack people in front of you with your ult, and you don't have to use your ult to only do damage or only heal, but you can do damage and heal at the same time. That's like the optimal condition for
I'm blocking it.
more ult.
Oh man.
Surrender to my will.
Bombs on point. Watch it. Bombs on point.
I got it.
Where's Farah?
Oh, you guys are winning this.
Where's Farah?
Stop wrecking ball.
For sure.
I'm gonna browse in a second.
No. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go found it.
Okay, 2 seconds. Yeah. Nice job, guys.
Oh no.
Also call out, you can probably call out when you use healing orb, so that your team knows that, okay, if we stay here we can all get healed.
Alright, he's dead.
Nice.
Alright, move up.
Now, do we want to pirate? Wait.
Got her.
I have Bumblebee, Ryan.
Call out Hammond on me when he goes down like that, or anyone else that comes to you.
Get him.
Diva chase him.
He's got the health back. He's got
No! Oh boy. Here, back up.
I'm so sorry. I was like a second.
From above.
I got so old.
Okay, we're still up. Big boss.
Farah's here.
The payload moves towards our desired outcome.
Wrecking ball.
You're fine.
Your body decays.
If you kill Ryan, you can focus wrecking ball. He's not gonna die without Ryan dying first.
Okay, let's see here.
Not gonna die without Ryan dying first.
Try to play smarter around the payload and use the payload to your advantage, so that you don't have to face check this, like this corner of the payload, because you can get pinned, you can get fire striked, you can get swinged at, and you can face check here, see what's up, can you drain something, and you want to let your tanks face check, just to be safe, and you don't have to force using your you don't have to use your shift as often then, because you end up using shift to get into cover here, but then you still walk out as if the cover didn't matter.
Rally on pirate.
And the cover didn't matter because you noticed that, okay, there's only Anna and Reinhardt there, but you could have saved your shift and just step on payload, walk around payload a bit, and
I can
take it
bash
easy.
you if you want.
And you would still have your shift right now. This is a perfect moment for Moira Beam as well.
Shatter.
You just use Moira Beam, push them, pressure them, and keep the snowball going.
Oh, that's fine.
Right, you're right.
Okay, not a bad, not a bad.
Alright, healing.
And healing orb out as well. Healing or damage. The priority is that the orb is out, then it has to be dependent on what the situations are. Like if everyone is critical, you can use healing orb. If everyone is healthy, you use damage orb.
Why was there a beach ball? Why did I just see a beach ball on the screen?
Because it was.
You're right.
Need one. Nice.
And you want to use your orb
Need healing.
before your Moira Beam as well, so you have more. You can use the Moira Beam, the healing orb before your Moira Beam, so that you heal and you can do damage somewhere else, or you can stay alive if someone is poking you.
Why was there a beach ball? Why did I just see a beach ball on the screen?
Because it was.
And you want to line up so that you heal people that are. You want to heal people, deal damage at the same time, or heal multiple people at the same time.
You're right.
Need one.
Right now you're playing more like hit scan. You're tracking one target only.
Nice. Let's get this bread.
I believe.
Grab a door.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one thing.
Let's
On the left.
Send out a damage orb to Diana, and you instantly find her.
Can it at least be garlic bread?
Crease in the ground on the right. Grab the crate. Just answer.
Ryan. Ryan can die first.
Ryan, they're Rhinus. Tunnel vision.
Watch that. Are you serious? Oh my god, the dreaded wall of slide. You slide off this wall like it's
Strength fades.
So it seems like you feel damage is the issue since you keep draining, but if you send out a damage orb and then keep healing your teammates, they will do more damage than you will do, and they will die. They will die later than the enemy will, like technically, obviously as well. And you build Moira Beam faster, and it's way easier than having to do acrobatics around the Hammond, meleeing the McCree, and he can flash you, he can headshot you, and you're done. And it's just more important to keep your teammates up than for you to drain all the time.
Oh my god, the dreaded wall of slide. You slide off this wall like it's
Strength fades.
You shouldn't be in this position, and the McCree can't kill you. Like if you're on payload, I think you are a bit too trigger happy, or not trigger happy, but a bit too greedy, like to get more value than you should be allowed to get.
Wait, guys, I have a real.
I think that's the first damage orb in a while. You should keep using damage orb, and then because you wanna keep in mind your position as Moira, like because you'll end up being in the front line as Moira, like as the character in general, and you wanna use your shift to escape flashes, hard CC, instead of using it to aggro on enemies. And you can use your damage orb to compensate for the distance.
Really dumb idea that might actually work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I killed.
And you wanna finish the payload as well.
I go Sombra and try to
We can
back.
go through castle.
So either like when you're delaying yourself like this, it's not any useful. Like nothing good is gonna come out of delaying yourself like
That's
this.
a dumb idea, 'cause we're just
Yeah,
gonna stand
let's just
guard.
roll. What are you doing?
I'm just gonna stay on guard. There's no back happening. Wait for a break.
Wait for
Surrender to my will.
If the enemies would just rush you, you would be dead. But I'm surprised, like they can't kill you.
Okay. I've just done more. Okay.
And it's working because it's buying enough time for your teammates to respawn. They have bad positions, and then they just go for the payload.
Yep.
That's kind of risky, that position right there.
Oh, big.
We must all make
I'm asleep. Lucio.
Please kill me.
Shattered.
No, I rallied.
Don't use.
So think about your position right here. A ton of enemies in front of you, but your team is all lined up for heals if you stand on bridge. So, in my opinion, if you stand back here and just line up yourself for the team, you can use your shift to line up yourself as well. That way you don't have to drain all the time, because it feels like you drain either to do damage or because there isn't much value in healing one person only. And you can only heal one person only because of the positioning not being... You don't change your position to heal more than one person at a time.
Lucio.
It's like playing Anna really far forward.
Please kill me.
Shattered.
No, I rallied.
Don't use any ults. Oh. Stable. Get him.
You gotta kill this monster somehow.
Reaper, that's a problem.
your body.
Oh, I'm dead.
Okay.
I got locked in the air. I'm sorry.
Jake, do you want to switch to Reaper?
Sure.
In my opinion, you don't have to switch anything. All you have to do is just make it easier for Moira to heal, and Moira drain less, she can heal more, and then the team stays alive longer. You have a ton of AoE damage, you get Moira beam, and then you just finish the push.
Engage like this. I have shadow, so.
Okay.
You're no flash.
So the healing orbs,
Don't use any. Oh my god.
Okay, boot.
I'm asleep.
here's a healing orb. Does Moira actually use healing orb a lot, but the efficiency on the primary fire isn't that efficient. It's kinda low, so that's why there's lacking heals, I mean.
Jake, do you want to switch to Reaper?
Sure.
Moving in the castle. Moving up the castle.
You don't even.
Up top. Okay. Okay. Move.
Nice,
Go
move
point.
there,
Point.
move
Here. Through here.
Enemy
I'm throwing.
And this push will work even if Hammond isn't dead, because everyone is lined up for your heals right here.
Bomb point.
What the fuck?
Oh, I boot
Bomb that.
No, the shadow.
Right.
Nice, nice point.
Yo, I just got boot.
No, I got boot with
He
that.
died, but he came back.
I'm restoring you.
Gotta reset at this moment.
If we need it, I'm coming back with shatter.
I'll have grab this one too.
The longer you stay on in this fight right now, the less likely it's that you... Oh well, it depends. If the enemies kill anyone right now, you're gonna lose the fight, but you have your respawns coming back in here. So if you can stay alive, it's risky because it's the last fight. If you don't reset. If you reset, you will have a new fight.
Dump everything you have.
We'll get pinned.
Great bomb again.
She was.
On behind you, Jake.
And because everyone stayed in the fight, or there was no like reset call. Next fight is kind of scrappy because everyone is like spawning on different timers, and Lucio can't speed everyone in. He has beat, Shatter, can't be used efficiently, and then it's very unlikely that she'll get the push here.
Coming back is we're gonna have to heal.
Great bomb again.
We're gonna leave.
So I'm gonna show a small trick. As Moira, you can shift and jump across here, and you'll be totally safe. That way you don't have to use healing orb only and then look around for better positioning.
Great bomb again.
We're gonna lose it.
Somebody's gotta get on point.
We lost.
Can touch less sec.
I can't. Not gonna last long though.
This is... I can touch.
Okay, I'll come in with grab.
Just do your thing and kill them. You just denied me.
I'm dead. Oh my god, dude. Should never have lost
Guys,
that.
how did...
Oops. So yeah, as Moira, try to line up yourself for multiple people, you know, hitting heals on multiple people. You wanna hit ult with multiple peoples, and it just doesn't make sense to play Moira if you're like, you can feel it as Moira, like when you're only healing one person, it feels like it's not going anywhere. And you can play Ana instead, you can play Mercy, you can play Zen, but the best fix for this, without having to switch a different hero, is just stand behind your tanks. You don't have to flank, you don't have to focus on damage, and use your shift to get back behind your team if you're getting targeted, or just step aside temporarily and then go back in and line yourself up to heal as many as possible from your team. And, you know, call the team, tell the team, like, fight more together so that you can heal more. And I think that's the main distraction from US Moira, or like the main thing that distracts US Moira from making her work. Then for Ana, with Ana, try to move less when you don't have to move. Then I showed earlier on a few spots where you can scope in, where you can have some alternative protection that's much better, and it's gonna feel a lot more safer to play, for example, next to Car if your team wants to push and fight into choke on first point. Then if you wanna be on high ground and heal, depending on where your team is fighting, you can sit on bridge, scope, and have hit scan heals if your team is fighting straight in front of you. But if they're fighting around corners and stuff, then the position you had is pretty good. Okay, so that was for ThereWillBeClams. And next VOD is from Nameless.